Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I want to start by saying that I'm sorry that it's been 2 weeks since I've done a video. I've been kind of busy at work and the holidays are starting to ramp up a little bit. I haven't forgotten about you. I just do not really know where time happens to go. Secondly, I apologize that I'm not wearing a shred of makeup today. I know I don't usually get too dressed up for these videos to begin with, but I am kind of tired. We were out like all night last night, and so all I did was this festive red lip and thought that I would get into this video. So it's the holidays, and a lot of people have asked me, and they ask me this year round, but I think it's especially kind of poignant of a question around the holiday time when you're going out and doing potentially this kind of shopping, which is, what do you think is the best buy for a Chanel handbag? And I think that, and this is not going to be a reveal on a classic flap or a boy bag, because I think that if you really want to throw down the money, you know, you're probably going to be looking at either buying a classic flap or a boy bag. And they're awesome bags. I think if you're looking for something that has staying power, I would definitely go into one of those two camps. Like, so if you're really buying a bag and looking at it as an investment piece, thinking like, I'm going to have this and then maybe one year I'm going to, you know, sell it someday or hand it down and I want it to maintain its value, I think you'd probably either get a classic flap or a boy bag. I personally fall into the classic flap camp on that. Although I do think the boy bag is here to stay, I think the classic flap is just like a lot more iconic. So that's not what this video is about. This is actually a video more on if you were to kind of buy a bag right now, if you weren't 100% ready to jump into the decision as to, you know, spending $5,000 or $6,000 on a classic flap or, you know, one of the boy bags, what would I get? So without further ado, I'm going to present to you this bag that I would choose. I'm not entirely sure of the name. I remember when I purchased it, somebody told me that it was called the Coco Madam. Like, so not the Mademoiselle, but the Madam. I'm just going to give you product information on it. And if it's something you're interested in looking into, my recommendation would be to call the, I'll put this on the bottom of the screen, the 1-800-CHANEL number, and give them the product information and see if they can locate it for you. But this is the bag. And I purchased this is in the fuchsia color, and it has kind of like a brushed gold hardware. I purchased this approximately a year ago. It was part of the 2016 cruise collection, and the one thing that's amazing about this bag is that it's $3,600. So right there you kind of have a great price point for a bag that's as substantial as it is. And I'll go into all the features in it in a minute. But you know, on the price alone, like right now you're looking at a bag that's obviously significantly bigger than a mini. So, you know, here's the classic mini rectangular flap. And here is this bag. I believe that the mini is retailing somewhere around $3,000 these days. Maybe it's $2,900. So for $700 more, you get this bag, which size-wise is almost identical to the medium-large classic flap. So this is a medium-large classic flap that I purchased probably in 2010. It's in black caviar. And then this is the Coco Madam that I purchased last year. And size-wise, they look almost exactly the same. I'm going to hold this up next to a jumbo at the end of this video because, and I'll do the measurements in just a second, the Madam is a little bit bigger, like width-wise. But as far as like kind of the way that these bags look side by side, the measurements are almost exactly the same. So here you have a bag that is $3,600, and here you have a bag that's $4,900. So you have a $1,300 price difference between these two bags. After you factor in tax, it's probably more like a $1,500 price difference. And obviously aesthetics wise, they're so similar looking. So as far as the measurements are concerned, I have to refer to my little chart. I'm sorry. Okay, the measurements of this bag are 10 inches wide by about 6.5 inches tall. Nope, I'm sorry, 7 inches tall. And then this depth is about 3¼ inches here. And then for the classic flap bag, you have a width of 10 inches and it's about 6.5 inches high. So it's about a 1/2 inch shorter, although I don't think that makes an appreciable difference. And then it's about 2.5 inches wide here. So as far as the measurements are concerned, right off the bat, you have a bag that is really similar. As far as the strap length is concerned, the Mademoiselle bag strap length is approximately 20 inches. So if you look at it on me, and I'm 5'5", it's easily something that can be wore crossbody. And now that I can't do it, but similar to the design of a classic flap, it has these 4 holes on the top and is also a great shoulder bag. So really pretty as far as the strap length is concerned. With respect to the medium large classic flap, the strap is much shorter. It's only about 16 inches. So for me, this is not something that I would ever wear crossbody. It's really only a shoulder bag at the 16 inches in height. And then obviously the classic flap has a similar design. The grommets are parallel to each other as opposed to side by side, but the function of this is exactly the same, where you can pull the straps through to make it like a little tiny shoulder bag. So the straps, I guess, are a little bit different on the two of them, but I don't think for me, when you're talking about the amount of price difference that you're going to save, I don't think that that's really a big deal. And I also love the fact that the Coco Madam can be worn crossbody, just because I think functionally it's a lot easier to walk around that way. And if you're wearing like a big sweater or jacket, you don't have the issue of the strap falling down your shoulder. As far as the similarities between this Coco Madam and the classic flap. First obvious similarity is the front of the bag. So you have the same essential aesthetic. Like obviously this has this piping that kind of runs across the front flap of the bag, but the aesthetic is exactly the same, where you have kind of this curved front, and then both of these bags have an identical turn lock clasp. So they function exactly the same from bag to bag. Now, the one obvious difference being that the Coco Madam does not have a double flap and the classic flap does. And then as far as also the aesthetic of these bags, they both have the back pocket. Flip this over. So they both have a back pocket. To me, it's almost identical as far as the like function and the shape of it. I don't do a whole lot with the back pocket on the on either one of these bags because it's not really big enough to hold a phone, but even so, it looks exactly the same. The width on these bags is a little bit different. And obviously here you can kind of see the double flap, which I don't know if that's a preference for anybody, but I guess it kind of indicates it's a classic. And then as far as the interior of these bags, so again, we have the zipper. You guys are probably familiar with this in the front of a classic flap bag. You have the double flap, and then the interior of a classic flap is leather, burgundy leather, and then it has these 2 pockets here. See if I can pull them out. And then this kind of like lipstick holder thing, which I actually never use, but it's there. And then it has this front pocket here. And then as far as the interior of this fuchsia bag, which is the color that it came with, it does not have the double flap, like I said, which to be honest with you, I actually kind of like. I think you are going to find, if you look at both of these bags, that one of the biggest things I like about it is the space element, that you have something that's almost exactly the same size, but somehow this seems so much bigger because it doesn't have the double flap. And indeed, I think it holds more. And then the interior of the bag is a little bit different, where you just have the one pocket in the back with a zipper. And instead of it being leather, it's like a pink nylon material. But I mean, as far as a bag goes, as far as a Chanel bag goes, I don't think I've ever seen Chanel come out with something that's so similar looking to the classic flap. It's such a decent price point, because again, this bag is $4,900. The mini is, I think, $2,900. So kind of like right in the middle here, you get a bag that's slightly bigger than a medium large and $1,300 cheaper before you even pay tax, and you have like the same aesthetic as far as the bag is concerned. So I don't think there's many cons as far as, the reason that you would purchase one over the other is concerned, because again, they're the same size. This one seems to hold more. This one can be worn crossbody. They both have the similar front flap features as well as the back pocket features. I think the one con that, and the reason that I would encourage you guys to look at this bag before you buy it, is that it does feel slightly less substantial. I think that's probably because it doesn't have the double flap and it doesn't have a leather interior, but it is much lighter than the medium large. And I don't know for you guys if that would be a plus or a negative. I think for me, it's kind of a plus, because classic flat bags are known to be heavy. And when you start to pack them, especially if you pack a jumbo, I think the jumbo weighs 2 pounds without anything in it. So this bag is significantly lighter than this medium large bag. What else did I write down? Sorry about this. I'm kind of tired today, so I apologize. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it that I have as far as the comparison between these two bags is concerned. My recommendations, if you guys are interested in this, is to call 1-800-CHANEL. I'll put the number here, but I believe it's 1-800-555-0005. I could be wrong about that, so trust the number that's down at the bottom of the screen and not the one that just came out of my mouth. But what I would do is I would call and I would give them the product code for this bag. So this particular bag is 16C as in cat, A93937, Y08140, and this is the fuchsia color. So the color code is 2A as in apple 995. And what I would do if you're interested is give the 800 number a call and give them the product information, and they should be able to tell you what colors this bag is available in. It came out in a lot. I've seen it in the last couple of months, so this isn't like an untimely video where I don't think you'd be able to find this bag if you wanted it, but it did come out in a light pink. I believe it came out in a red, more of like a coral red. I've also seen it in a navy blue. It was really, really good looking in the navy blue. But essentially, this is my opinion on what your best bet is to buy a Chanel bag if you're not ready to make the investment on the price. And, you're going to save a ton of money getting this. And it's a really beautiful bag. It's held up well. It's shiny and gorgeous. And I really don't see many reasons why, at least from the aesthetic angle, why you would not pick this over a classic flap. So really quick, just to compare it with a jumbo, because it's the holidays, I'm going to break out Mr. Red. Hold on. Okay. So this is a Chanel classic flap in red caviar. And if you put these two bags next to one another, to be honest, they're not real. I mean, there's not a huge difference between this jumbo and the Coco Madam. So if you want my opinion as far as size is concerned, I think that you kind of get the size of a medium large classic flap with a little more depth, more of the depth of the jumbo as far as as far as kind of my eyes can see. And I can tell you off the bat that because of the absence of the flap, that this does hold a lot more than the medium large. And obviously, I think the size comparison is much better to the medium large, but if for whatever reason you were comparing these two, this bag is $5,500. So buying this one is going to save you $2,000 as compared to a jumbo. But anyway, that's my read. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.